I would like to tell you a story from the Hebrides. The Hebrides are the islands on the west coast of Scotland. And there are the Inner Hebrides and the Outer Hebrides. In the Inner Hebrides, closest to Scotland, there's a big island called Skye. And I've just been there and picked up a story. But if you wander around on Skye, and maybe you have a friend from there, they will tell you, look, there's a fairy lake. There is a fairy pool and a fairy waterfall. And the island is very, very fairy-like. And this is the special about the Celtic stories. They believe there is another country, maybe underneath the pool or inside the mountain. You don't know where it is, but it's there. And they call this country Tir Nanuk. Long, long time ago, in the bright golden days when the world was yet young, and before the mist had hidden the gods for man. At that time, there lived on the island of Skye a young, strong hunter. He was beautiful. His name was Oy. And he was the greatest hunter. It was said that he could track down a deer far into the valley. And he could bring down a bird when it was but a speck in the sky. His arrow were long, strong wands tipped with silver. And he lived for nothing but the hunt. He was roaming the moors, the glens and the mountains with his companions. From morning till night they were hunting. And after the hunt, there were the feasts. Feasts with heather ale. I don't know if you ever tasted heather ale. And then there were bird's wine and iskeba, the whiskey. And the feasts, they went on and on, far into the mornings. One day, they were hunting in the great, big, dark, cooling mountains. And there, Oy, he saw the woman, Yellowseat. And Yellowseat saw Oy. And they thought each other fair. From that day on, Oy, he forgot all about the hunting. He forgot his friends. And Yellowseat, she forgot all her duties. They walked hand in hand through the mountains, through the glens and the valleys. And they were singing and dancing, talking. And they had their secret places beside their lakes and in the caves, by the pools. Yellowseat, she was the daughter of Skye. Skye was a mighty magical woman. And she saw Yellowseat with Oy, and she did not like what she saw. Because Oy, he had not proved himself as a hero. He had been in many combats. No, he had not been in any combats, and he was not a hero. And one day, she told her thoughts to Yellowseat. And Yellowseat, she cried, I would rather be a bird in the air, singing for Oi, than not be with him. Morgai looked at Yellowseat, and she said, Then, a bird you shall be, but with no song. And with those words, Yellowseat changed into a great white swan. And the swan flew up over the Duloc Lake, and it landed as close as it could beside the cottage of Oi. When Oi woke in the morning, he looked around for Yellowseat, but she was not there. She used to be there. He saw only the swan. Then he started to look and to seek for Yellowseat in the mountains and the valleys and the glens, and didn't find her. Day after day he looked, and he looked in all the secret places, deep into the caves. But everywhere where he looked, the white swan was flying above the head. It was there all the time. And one day he got so irritated by that swan, he took his silver-tipped arrow and he shot the swan through the breast, and the swan fluttered down. As the swan touched the ground, he transformed into Yellowseat. Yellowseat with his arrow through her breast. Full of remorse and sorrow, he took Yellowseat in his arms. And then she sang. She sang, it was all worth it for this final moment in your arms. And then she died. Oi buried Yellowseat in one of their secret places. And then he returned to his cottage. He did not want to be with his friends. He could not be consoled. He was so full of remorse and sorrow. And the food tasted like dust and ashes in his mouth. He couldn't sleep at night. When his grief was at its deepest, Morgai came, and she said, Oi, I cannot give you Yellowseat back. But if you are willing to take the form she had before she died, then you can be with her always. Oh, I will, said Oi. And with her words, Morgai transformed Oi onto a great big white swan. And the swan flew up over the Duloc Lake. It was night. In the morning, Oi's friends, they looked for him. They looked in the cottage, he wasn't there. They looked in the mountains, in the glens. They looked everywhere, but couldn't find him. But finally, at the Duloc, they saw two big white swans with an arrow from breast to breast and with their necks intertwined. Mogai, she took the two bodies and she buried them beside a cairn of stone, and she covered them with turf. But their spirits had already flown into the land of the ever young, the land where the houses are built of sunshine, where there's no sorrow, and where the sun does not go down. Their spirits had flown together into Tir Nano.